Hello, adventurers. I call you adventurous spirits because we are people that like to go out and find the excitement in life. We are active. We are initiators. We are looking for trouble in the best way possible. I want to welcome you to this weekly musical podcast, which is designed to help encourage all of us on this long, winding, treacherous, and sometimes very exciting road toward the adventure that we seek. We got the highs, we got the lows in all of life: creativity, career, relationships, adulting, fill in the blank. It is all part of the adventure. Because you see, the world is full of intimidating but thrilling endeavors, and we are people who pursue them. So let's come together. Let's walk along beside each other and support one another with our own stories and with our thoughts and suggestions about the whole process, because we're on our way to major milestones. We've had some of them, and we've got more to come. So this is episode 28, and I title this The Grand Scheme. I just love that phrase, the grand scheme. I use it often enough that sometimes I forget that it exists, and then I hear myself saying it, and I'm like, that sounds like a really big plot. Like, I have a grand scheme I want to invite you into. Will you carry out this scheme with me? You might need slightly larger glasses if you're an IT crowd fan. Yeah, what does that sound like to you when you think of the big picture? Do you tend to classify yourself as a big picture person or more of a detail-oriented person? My name's Cortney Matz. I am here to serenade you along the way as we discuss these topical concerns for our adventurous lives, because every personal growth journey needs a soundtrack. I think there is demonstrated evidence to that effect. It might not be that much of a surprise that I tend to be a big picture person. It's hard for me to focus on details. I find that details are sometimes tedious, sometimes just get lost. You know, I have a lot of big picture ideas, and then when it comes down to walking out all of the minutia, I don't always have patience for it. But I am bent towards the big picture, so I'm speaking out of a little bit of expertise today, and I want to help you stay connected to the grand scheme. Yeah, so tell me what you think about that. Are you a big picture person? Are you a details person? Do you fall somewhere in between? Does it depend on the day? Let me take a quick drink here. It is a warm and dusty day out there, and sometimes I can feel it as I'm trying to talk. Summer! I'm going to play you a little song to get us started here. Oh, let's see. We have a chat from Steve. Steve says, I'm definitely a big picture person. The actual details often bog me down or catch me off guard. Yeah, so I'm right there with you, Steve. Steve understands. So I'm going to start off with a song, and I wrote this quite some time ago now. 2010, I helped produce a feature film called For the Glory, and it's based on a true story about a man that was sort of a local community persona in Northern Virginia, which is where I spent most of my adult life before moving out here to Los Angeles. And I was just inspired by his story of perseverance through numerous reiterations of his life and career, and just sticking with a thing for the sake of a big picture that I think he couldn't even really grasp yet. And so this song is called Here. It's on my album called Mystery. Look out the window, stare at the morning light. Hundreds of daydreams flashing beneath the sky. When everyone in life wants something real, can you imagine how that would feel? Well, I don't understand, but something's happening here. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's just a dream. What if it's something? What if it's everything? When everything you wanted falls apart, suddenly that's the best place to start. I still don't understand, but something's happening. Still don't understand, but something's happening here. Turn the years forward, suddenly it's all new. Look at this family, all that he's brought us through. Looking back from here, everything's changed. I never felt so proud of my last name. Well, I don't understand, but something's happening. I don't understand. No, I'll never understand. But something's happening here. Oh, I'm so glad it happened here. Sometimes it's easy to lose track of what matters. And that's kind of what I'm talking about with this concept of the grand scheme. Getting perspective. Because even if you have a tendency to care more about the big picture than the details, details happen. I mean, they just happen to all of us. And they can make it difficult to keep your eye on the big picture, to see the grand scheme, for, the forest for the trees. So how do you stay connected, keep your grasp on the things that really matter in all of life? How do you know when you're sort of knocked for a loop, or you've been struggling through the details and you need to get that big picture again? How do you know what matters? And I like that song for this topic because it talks about, I don't know what's happening. I don't really get the big picture here. I'm not sure what the end game is. I don't know what I'm trying to make happen or keep from happening. This is just, there's something going on here that I'm curious about, and I want to explore it, and I want to get to the bottom of it. And I think it's important to have a sense of faith about that as much as we want certain big things to happen in our lives, there is also a much bigger story than we can even really fully understand, that we might not see until way later. Maybe in our elderly years, maybe in our posthumous assessment, in our epitaph. There are so many people whose lives and careers we appreciate so much more after they're gone, because we have more perspective on what they brought to the world. And I don't say that to be morbid, I think that's just reality. I'm trying to check my expectations. Do I expect for everything to make sense in the here and now? That might be really tough. But if I expect to have some mystery, then that makes it a little more bearable. How do you do with mystery? Is it healthy, or is mystery meant to be sorted out? Do you have to know? Are you a metrics person? So let's talk a little bit about practicalities here. Because I think it is important in your day-to-day to feel like you have a chance at success. And life is full of surprises, whether you welcome them or not. I find that those of us who have a creative bent, we tend to have lots and lots of surprises happen to us, maybe more so than other types of personalities. But even regardless, life is going to hand you stuff that you did not plan on. And sometimes those surprises are so encompassing that it's very easy to know, this is what I have capacity for right now. I heard this joke from Jim Gaffigan, who's a comedian, and he talks about when he and his wife had a third child. People asked him, what's it like to have 3 kids? And he said, imagine that you're drowning in the ocean and you're just sort of barely keeping your head above water. Like you're drowning, but you're gonna make it probably. And then someone tosses you a baby. So I would imagine when you have 3 kids, freshly 3 kids, that is what you're doing. This is what is important in life right now, keeping these children alive and somehow managing to not drown. But then what happens once the chaos of that newness settles down a little bit? Like, it's still consuming, there's still a lot to think about, you still have all your usual responsibilities, but maybe some of your priorities are more long-term. They're, if you follow the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it's in that grid of the urgent but not important, or the urgent and important, or not important and not urgent. There are priorities in life that are important, but they're not urgent. They don't feel urgent, or they don't feel urgent yet. That deadline may yet be coming. And I find that requires some intention. I have to really be careful to pay attention to that stuff. It gets lost real easy, because there are so many other demands that will just take your thoughts. Whether it's someone asking you to take something on, where you get to exercise everybody's favorite 2-letter word, no. I would love to, but no. I have some priorities in my life that I need to focus on before I can take on anything new. Or whether they're just the surprises that life hands us, and sometimes there's the opportunity to ask for help with those things. Or maybe you can't, and it's just a time to deal with the urgency, with the intention to come back to the non-urgent but still important after that settles down. Let's see, we have another message from Steve. He says, I enjoy a bit of mystery, which is a good thing because many of the mysteries in my life never get sorted out. They haven't gotten sorted out yet anyway, and I'm right there with you. I think some of those mysteries may have a very long ending way later. Or maybe not that much later, just not yet. So that's a lot of talking. I'm going to sing you a song. This is a song from the future, our future successes, speaking back to us now, trying to give us courage and inspiration to keep going. What happens next? I can't imagine. Who would have guessed? It's hard to fathom. 10 years from now, I hope they mention what it took to get here. Took so long to get clear. Falling down, getting back up again. Wondering how we'd make it to the end. Spark after spark burnt out, and now we're catching on like wildfire. Taking over the deepest, darkest night with a bright light. No one can touch it, couldn't even stop it if we tried. It's simmering, wanting so bad to want it less. It's riveting how this flame keeps finding ways to stay alive, and it won't die. Taking over the deepest night with a bright light. No one can touch it, couldn't even stop it if we tried. It's a wildfire, wildfire, taking over the deepest night with a bright light. No one can touch it, couldn't even stop it if we tried. Burning, burning. that these things that are in us, like these songs that I write and these stories that we tell and the creative impulses and the people that we want to have in our lives, there's something simmering there for a reason. It's not for nothing. So that helps keep faith alive for me, that this is going somewhere. Something's happening here. And I think for me, part of what keeps me from seeing some of the impact that I want to have is just I'm spread thin. I am spread thin. And some of that is my own doing, and some of that is just life handing me surprises. But recently I have been challenged to reconsider how I spend my time, how I think about each of these things that I do, music especially, but other things as well. And to recognize I don't have full and complete control over when I can devote time and effort to those things. But I know that I will benefit, and each of these efforts of mine will benefit from focused attention. There's a business coach that I have been following since 2014, and at the time she was not a business coach. She was a personal stylist, and she had all these cool videos and classes to do with kind of finding your sense of style and wearing all the clothes in your closet and just kind of being more innovative with what you put on and having more imagination about your look. You know, just trying to coach you with what you want to do with your own wardrobe, without spending money and necessarily having to do away with any of your existing outfits. And I found it very refreshing. I enjoyed it so much. I just kind of followed her on all the places, and I've been on her mailing list ever since. And she now has a podcast and has expanded to offer all sorts of programs, and she taught a business launch class that I signed up for and love. It is an excellent class. I'll recommend it to you if you want. And she also now offers a journal called the Elegant Excellence Journal, and her whole business coaching platform became about being less frazzled and harried in your business building and being able to do life more elegantly, to feel more self-possessed, and to be able to enjoy the process in your own style. So it's been really interesting to watch her journey as she progressed from being simply a stylist, which she still does that, and she does it very well, to being more of a coach and a trainer and an educator and a helper along the business path. Because who doesn't want to be a little more elegant in the way that they handle the demands of business and entrepreneurship? But I say all that to say that she talks about in this business class that I'm in how she saw such tremendous growth when she scaled down her offerings from, instead of having like 13 different classes that she was promoting to the same group of, however many hundred people, to just 2. She scaled it all back to 2 things, and man, I feel that. I feel the self-imposed limitations of saying, I'm just going to offer 2 things. And there are 2 things that help people. There are 2 things that I love, that I believe in. And I'm not going to be running around hustling and chasing, these different 13 programs and trying to get new people into all of them. I'm just going to offer 2. Now, I don't really know yet how that translates to my life and business, but I think it's a valuable thought. And so I'm sharing it with you today because I think recognizing our limitations and embracing them is key to happiness and joy in life, and to be able to see some benefits from what we do. And I've seen that from playing the game Risk. I love games that help teach me truths about life. Have you ever played the game of Risk? It's all about making strategic decisions to fight against other players. I mean, you're fighting by rolling the dice. No fisticuffs involved, thankfully. But I have learned time and time again, the way to win that game is to focus on one territory at a time. You focus on protecting Australia, basically. You control and protect Australia because there's only really 2 paths of entry into there. And then you can spread out once you kind of have that solid anchor. You can spread out and take over the world, but you can't start all over the world. You just can't, because you're spread too thin to be effective. When you can keep the grand scheme in mind as you're fighting these individual battles and taking this individual territory, it can look like you're settling for just a very small victory, but those little victories will snowball and add up if we can be disciplined to focus. So for the sake of the grand scheme, I'm going to challenge each of us to reassess our plan of attack and to embrace the teeny scheme. Just a little teeny. It's like the grand scheme of a small chunk of the big world that we want to conquer. And this is a principle that I have proved to myself over and over again, and I have to keep remembering from time to time. So I'll share it with you because I figure we probably all need to be reminded of it. And meanwhile, I just want to thank Epiphany Space for being my podcasting location here. This is such a wonderful community of artists from coast to coast across the nation of the United States. And if you could use a little more support in these grand schemes of yours, I invite you to go check out epiphanyspace.com. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are some surprises life hands us that they're just gonna happen. There's not a whole lot of say you have in the matter. And that's what this last song is about. I just want to bless you as you go into the rest of your day. As you make choices. As you try to keep the big picture in mind, and as you ask other friends for input and insight, just remember, sometimes every freaking day is a surprise. So they told me I should work from 9 to 5 to stay alive. Toe the line, bide my time till I'm finally 65. Well, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Tell you what, it sucked. It took some time to recognize I'm cut from artist cloth. And I am called to be exceptionally creative in everything I do. It's not a choice I made, it's a life I'm made for. A roller coaster ride to heaven's door. Miraculous, enticing, comfort sacrificing, and every day I ask for more. Oh no, sometimes way too much surprise. Just lift your eyes, watch the sunrise. Some things can be relied on, even if every freaking day is a surprise. Oh, you know how much we love a good surprise. These can be tough experiences to walk through. Every time we hit up against them, it's like it's a new challenge. So I just want to encourage you to come and talk about it. I've got a discussion group over on Facebook called Adventurous Spirits. Invite you to come and share whatever is happening with you right now with us. And let us all kind of be with you on it. Because we're all looking for clarity. Which particular territory of the earth we want to conquer right now. And we all run into obstacles in the process of carrying that out. And we all need to be picked up and encouraged and reminded of our own story. So I just want to remind you today that you have overcome so many challenges already in your life. And you're not done. And you have had moments of clarity and flashes of inspiration. And those have not ceased to be guiding and helpful and accurate. And I trust that there are more. I trust that there are more. Even if it feels like you've been waiting a very long time. And if you're just wrapped up in the surprises and you're rolling with the punches, I trust that the insight and the inspiration will come back when you actually have space in your life to pursue it. If this has been a helpful thought for you today, I hope you'll give me a like on YouTube. Come and rate and review on all the other podcast platforms. It helps the whole rest of the world get access to this. And if you'd like to support financially, I'd love to have you as one of my beloved patrons at patreon.com/Cortney Matz. But for today, I bless you in all that you take on, your creativity, your uniqueness, and your sense of adventure. See you next Tuesday. Have a great week. Have fun out there.